My name is Gavin Nelke, and for my presentation, I will be going over the history of basketball. This is the timeline that I'll be going over, starting in 1891, moving to 1949, 1976, 2003, and to the present. So, basketball was made in 1891 by James Naismith, who needed a winter sport. He was a professor at the YMCA, and he needed a winter sport for his students, because football and baseball wouldn't be played during the winter, so he came up with basketball, where he used a soccer ball and a peach basket. And the first ever game of basketball played in 1891 ended with a score of 1-0. So they only scored once. And this isn't the first game, but it was just footage of a very early game of basketball, just to show how it used to be played. And in between that time, a lot happened, a lot of rule changes. So dribbling became legal. The first women's game was played in 1892. The backboard was added and the ball got upgraded and metal rims were added. In the 1920s, the Harlem Globetrotters were created. And in the 1920s as well, the NBA basketball became an Olympic sport. And the NBL, the National Basketball League, was created, and they had their first championship. And the Basketball of America Association, the BAA, was also added. In 1949, the NBL and the BAA combined and made the NBA. And during that time, some of the best players ever played. So Wilt Chamberlain, who scored 100 points in a game. Bill Russell, which had the biggest dynasty with the Celtics, won 11 rings, where LeBron only has about 4, and Michael Jordan only got about 6 rings. And the 24-second shot clock was added, which just allowed for scoring to become more popular and higher scoring games. And then in 1976, probably the biggest rivalry ever happened, which reignited the NBA, was Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson. Larry Bird being on the Celtics, Magic with the Lakers, which is the biggest rivalry probably ever in the NBA. And then obviously Michael Jordan started playing, and there was the NBA Dream Team, which was just the most dominant NBA Olympic team, which no other country stood a chance. Free agents were added, which was a lawsuit against the NBA by the player Oscar Robertson, which allowed for players to go to any team they wanted pretty much. And the three-point line was added, which added a completely different level of scoring, which the players weren't even ready for. And court fights, court violence, it was known as a rougher time. This is one of the most popular court fights. This is called the Malice at the Palace, where between the Indiana Pacers and the Detroit Pistons, where one of the players, Ben Wallace, shoved one of the dudes and started a full-out brawl. And it ended with the players fighting the people in the stands, which will come up here soon. They run up to the stands and that's Ben Wallace, and just started fighting the people in the stands right here. Wayne. So yeah, that's the Malice at the Palace. And the next is from 2003 to present. So in 2003, LeBron James was drafted, who is, if not the best player, the second best player to ever live. And then 2003, Michael Jordan also retired. And in that time was probably the most powerful, dominant duo to ever touch the court, which is Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, which they won 4 rings with the Lakers. And there was just a few small rule changes. Players just started becoming more and more popular, with the NBA becoming more popular. And this is where the league shifted from being dominated by bigger players like Shaq to smaller players using the three-point line, seeing how valuable it is in shooting from there more, and it became a shooters league, where this is a graph of, in 1990, only about 10% of the shots were three-point shots, where this right here is where the three-point line was shorter, and then they brought it back. And this is 2021, where about 40% of the shots are three-point shots in the game. And this is just a quick video of Steph Curry just nailing threes from anywhere. Steph Curry is probably one of the people that revolutionized it, made the three-point line way more popular, along with Reggie Miller and Ray Allen. Just completely changed the game. Steph Curry is obviously probably the best three-point shooter to ever touch the court. I mean, the stuff he was throwing up, people in the 70s and 80s wouldn't even think about shooting it. Just from anywhere in the court. And just to recap, 1891, the game was created. In between that, a lot happened with dribbling, the backboard, the ball, the metal rims, basketball becoming an Olympic sport. And then 1949, where the NBL and the ABA combined to make the NBA, and just some of the most dominant players. 1976, just some of the most popular players to ever play, which just made the league take it to the next level and just become more popular. And then 2003, just the game completely changing into a shooters league. And that's it. Thank you. And this is just some highlights, which I'll just play this after my presentation's over. Thank you.